Okay. Well, welcome everyone for joining us for our live Q&A today. It's Friday.
Yes, thank God.
Yes. So our topic today is breaking cycles and modes. And
Yes.
I am Jamesha Ross. I will be joined by Miss Ahisha Peters. But first, let me tell you. Oh, you got one for you? Okay.
Girl.
Okay. First, let me just let you know a little bit about me. I wear many hats, and one of the hats is an occupational health nurse, but I also have an ebook, Nursing School Survival Guide, and I have a app that helps self-screen for COVID-19, Nurse Screen app, which we're going to talk about later. We'll talk about that later. And I am a transformation coach. And the question that I get a lot of times is, what is a transformation coach? Well, I help people transform from where they are now to their best version. And I focus on helping women that feel stuck. They want more in life, but they feel stuck and they struggle with procrastination. I help them build all 4 types of wealth so that they can make their goals a reality and leap to the next level in life. Because that's what we all want. We want to get to the next level.
That's it.
Right. But I have the pleasure of doing this live Q&A with Miss Ahisha Peters.
Hi,
she is so inspirational. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hey. Oh, I see. Michelle. Thanks for joining again, Michelle. And anyway, she has a very inspirational story. She has transitioned and transformed from being a teen mom to an IT professional or IT chick, IT babe, whatever you want to call it. She's rocking the IT world. And so we both were teen moms. I found out I was pregnant at 14. I delivered at 15. And my first child was 10 weeks premature. And that was very scary. I talked about this the previous 2 days. And it was really hard for me to leave her at the hospital. I mean, you have an unexpected delivery and then you go and you have to go home without your baby. No one wants to do that. So just imagine a 15-year-old doing that.
Yeah.
You know, really not emotionally intelligent at all and not really knowing what to expect. So how old were you when you found out you were pregnant and when you delivered?
I was 16. I delivered 1 month after I turned, well, really, it wasn't even a full month. Probably about 3 weeks after I turned 17.
Wow.
Yep. My birthday's in May. I had James in June 13th. My birthday's May 22nd. So, yeah.
Oh,
and listen,
that was so hard.
Days of hard labor. So I don't even know if I should say it was horrible. Anyway.
Right. And so it was really hard for me to actually have her and just have her like just snatched away and taken off. Like I couldn't hold her for a month. She was born, when she was born, she was 3 pounds and 2 ounces. And that was really hard.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that we grew up and still live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has some horrible numbers when it comes to teen pregnancy. A lot of progress has been made, but not enough. We still have some things to accomplish in that area. But let's jump right into it. And I do want to say that Ahisha and I have known each other for many years, and we developed a bond after the men in our lives brought us together.
Yes, the men thought we were going to love and be with for the rest of our lives, honey. You couldn't tell us anything different back then.
Nothing. If you ever heard of ride or die chick, I mean,
that was it.
But that changed.
Woo, thank God for deliverance. That's deliverance.
Yes. So I want to ask you, like, how did you overcome teen pregnancy?
Well, it was really hard. After I found out I was pregnant, I told, I think I was pretty close to 4 months. Well, probably not, because my mama walked in on me throwing up, and I was all kind of, I don't even want to go into it. It was, mama. So it was a whole 3-day fiasco. Anyway, and, I just I was so sad because, you know, all of my life she was always, if you get pregnant, you got to find your own place to stay. You got to get out. You can't stay here. Get pregnant if you want to. So anyway, but you know, so I overcame those after reality sank in and I came to grips with, okay, I'm getting ready to be a mama. I got to do this. I fully understood that my life was no longer my own, you know, and that I was responsible for another life that wasn't mine. And he didn't ask to be here, you know, and I wanted him to grow and learn and experience things as a child that I didn't. And, you know, from the moment he was born, I knew that I had to work really hard to be the best version of myself. I wanted him to see what success looked like, what hard work looked like. And I wanted him to know that, you know, you don't have to be what you see. You know, we were raised both, you know, in North Tulsa. It was, we didn't have a hard life, but there were a lot of things that I just did not want for him as a child. And so I just was determined, made up in my mind, you know, it is what it is. Ain't no turning back. I'm not getting ready to give it up for adoption. Let's do this. So, yeah.
And I remember those days. I mean, it was just so hard to get up sometimes. And you really had to pull on your inner strength with a little help from your family. But you had to really pull on your inner strength to do it and just know that this person is dependent on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I moved out my senior year. I talked about this the other day, but I moved out and moved into Sun Garden, which, you know, was known for being gun garden. Always popping.
Yes.
And it was just hard to focus.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so many distractions, but I knew the time was going to go by no matter what.
Yep.
And I wanted to be able to provide. I used all the agencies that are in the community. I had Section 8, I had daycare assistants, and I even got, I think it was from Housing Authority, but I got a little check from my electric bill too.
Yeah.
And I just got sick of all of, you know, the annual checks and having to jump through hoops just to have a roof over your head. And I really
are all in your business.
Right. And I'm not putting that down because, like I said, I use those programs and those are for us when you're in situations like that. But I just couldn't wait for the day that I could pay my full rent.
Yes.
And not have to make arrangements on something.
Yes. Yes.
So it was hard, but we made it.
We made it. And, you know, a big part of overcoming teen pregnancy is, you know, having a village. And, you know, I truly had a village. I was very blessed to have aunts and uncles and, you know, the boys' grandmother. She just kind of took over because she's like, y'all kids. She just kind of took over. But, you know, I do know that there are some teenagers that don't have the same, they weren't blessed with the village that we were blessed with. And, you know, one of the things that I really like to, you know, ensure that young women know is that just because you don't have a village, it doesn't mean that the village is not available. You know, use your resources. There are, like, when you go in for different appointments to receive daycare assistance, or maybe if you need food stamps, talk to your social workers. They can provide you with the information you need and resources that are within the community that, you know, can help you. And, you know, what I've learned is when you tap into those resources, you make lifelong connections. You know, I've heard so many stories where young ladies or women who are adults now who had to, you know, go to different resources or reach out to someone in one of the churches in the community, and they developed a lifelong relationship that it still exists today. So I'm just, you know, part of overcoming was the village and, you know, my faith, being grounded in faith.
Now, that's the truth right there. Yeah. So how did that impact who you are today?
You know, raising a teen, being a teen and raising a kid develops traits. You develop traits that most people don't develop until they're in their mid to late 20s. Yeah,
true story.
And, you know, I became resilient at a young age. I was focused and centered. I was dependable. And at that time, I felt as if it was by force. But, you know, hindsight is 20/20. At that time, I thought it was by force. But just knowing and seeing all of these other stories, I know it was a choice that I made. I made the choice to be the best person that I can be the best version of myself at all times, to work hard, to do what I had to do, to be a success, and to be a decent human, you know. And I just remember times like a time period when James was probably 6-7 months old. I would get up at 8 o'clock and go to school. I'd leave school and I'd go to Tulsa Tech so that I could, I enrolled into a healthcare administration program so that I could get my certification in that. And then I had a temporary position at the post office as a mail clerk. So after I left there, I immediately went downtown and worked as a mail clerk. And a lot of times, most nights, we had mandatory overtime. And if I tell them I'm not going to stay, they're going to fire me. And so I would get home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, come through the door. Brenda's got the baby, tell me to go mind my own business. And I'd go down and I'd crash and I'd get up and I'd do it again. And then I don't know where the energy came from, but I still went to the club.
I know.
Hey, because you know, I was not just a good party. I was at the club every weekend with a fake ID. Shouldn't have been in there. Hey, but you know, that's called balance. That's called balance in life. So, you know, you have to throw the social in there or something. You have to get that in there. So you're not
at that age.
Yeah.
We're still, you know, 21 on, you know,
yeah.
We're supposed to be 21, but you know, we might have been 19, but
yes. It's plenty of bouncers that got in trouble from my bonus dad at the time because he walked in the club and I was in there and all heck broke loose. But yeah, so, you know, I learned a lot. I learned resilience. I learned how to work hard. And I learned balance, which was important. I mean, that kind of drifted away as I got older, but still, you know, I learned so many things. And it developed me into the person I am today. And I know it is a big part of the reason for my success in my career and just different things I decided to do in life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I know that when I set my mind to something, nothing can get in the way. And that started back, you know, when I was 15 and they were telling me that I wasn't going to be anything. And, oh, you're probably going to end up on drugs or something. Statistics say that teen moms are blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't believe that. And I had a praying grandmother.
That's it.
Sure, I knew the sky was the limit. I didn't know what she meant then, but now I know. When she used to take me out, and she was a janitoress, so she wasn't making much money.
Yeah.
She would take me out and she would say, you know, get what you want to get. We'd go to these different department stores like Saks Fifth Avenue and Renberg's. And she would use her credit cards because that's, you know, all she had. And she would tell me, get what you want now because you will have to sacrifice later. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what she meant, but when I had to sacrifice, I was like, oh, that's what she meant. Mm-hmm. I just never forgot those words. And so whenever I pursue something, I'm always remembering, you know, I need to do this. And even if I have to sacrifice, it's okay. I'm just going to get it done.
Yeah.
So, and right now I probably need to just stop. Yes, Renberg's and Utica Sweat.
I remember Renberg's. I had an aunt that worked for the Renberg's, and we used to go to their house. They would let us come play in their pools. It was pretty cool.
Right. Well, good. So, what do you think you did to break the cycle of teenage pregnancy? You know, your son was the oldest, but you also have a teenage daughter. So what did you do? How do you think you were able to break that cycle?
Well, being transparent, educating them and being transparent. And there were things that I talked to my children about that my parents didn't talk to me about, because you just don't talk about sex. You just don't talk about sex. And you're told, the Bible says you don't have sex till you get married, and that's it and that's all. You don't get anything else. You know, well, we didn't. And so that was one of the greatest things I wanted to change, because I was not comfortable enough to go and sit down with my mom, and definitely without my daddy, and say, hey, so I want to have sex. I need birth control.
No.
so it's just something that we didn't do. So, and even if I did, I'm certain they'd be like, the Bible says, or girl, shut up and go sit down, or stop being fast. And so I wanted to make sure that from a young age, as soon as my kids started noticing different things, or feeling certain ways about their body, I would talk to them about age appropriate content when it comes to their understanding their bodies and sex. And then I was very brutal with the boys for obvious reasons, because I was really brutal with them about, I would do things like I would pull up Google and show them diseased genitals and talk to them about all the ugly stuff about sex. And
I did too. I kept my nursing books just for that.
And just try to instill fear in them first. And then I would kind of backtrack and say, okay, then we talk through the emotional side of it. Like, most adults that are not emotionally stable or emotionally mature, they can't deal with the emotional remnants and side effects of having a sexual relationship with somebody. So it's not always about, well, it is about not having a child as a teen, but there's so many other things that tie in to sex. And I wanted to make sure they understood all of that. Like, you don't want a kid. You don't want to end up with a disease that you're going to have for the rest of your life. And then you don't want to be emotionally unstable because you're having sex with this person and you don't understand what's going on with your body and your mind and your chemistry, because, all of those things. And so, I was very, very blunt, very open, very honest about all things. And then just reminded them, when you have a baby, your life is no longer your own. You're not going out. You're not kicking it. You're not getting to hang with your homeboys. You can't go play AAU basketball. It's just not going to happen, because I'm young and I'm not gonna keep your baby. That's your, So those are the type of things that we talk through, and then just keeping them busy, keeping them engaged in community activities, keeping them in church activities, and in sports. A lot of people, some people, I see a lot now where people kind of, our kids are not just entertainers and ball players. Well, no, they're not, but athletics plays a huge role in keeping them busy, making sure they stay focused on their academics. If they develop a love for any type of sports program, it's a passion. They lose it when they can't play. So they make sure that if they want to play, they got to make sure they got good grades. And then, also scholarships, they have a really good chance, if they're good and they're hard workers and they're loyal and they're dependable, they can get a scholarship and get free education. So that was another part of it, is just keeping them busy, keeping them engaged. And then a part of my village, because, the boys, their dad was murdered. They were in elementary school. And so that was a really, really heavy time period for us. There was several years where there was big struggle, but I had my dad, I had my bonus dad, and other men in my life that came in and helped mentor them and kind of fill in that space where their dad was no longer there. And so we were on the same page. That's another thing. Other adults that are in your life have to be on the same page when you're raising children. We were on the same page, and they echoed a lot of the things that I was saying to the kids. So yeah, just keeping them busy, being open and transparent with them about everything. I've always told them, I'm an open door. I don't ever want you to get to a place to where you feel like you can't come and you can't talk to me about anything. Because I didn't feel like I had that. And I don't blame my parents. I just think it was just one of the things that was passed down,
Well, if they have a question and you don't give them the answer, they're going to get it from somewhere else, and it's probably going to be wrong.
That's it.
So I'm glad you had that open door. And I know for me, my mom had me her last year of high school, and I just wanted to break the cycle. And my dad was 10 years older than my mom, so he really, that's a whole nother topic, but you know.
Yes,
Just really keeping
absolutely.
kids close and keeping them with the mindset that they're worthy and what they have is not something they want to give away just because they like someone or someone likes them. And they were pretty busy.
Yeah.
But you know, it just is so intentional because we went through it. And I said this, you know, last night when my children reached that milestone where I was when I found out. I had
Many
to, it's
celebrations.
a personal moment for me. I had to celebrate and thank God they
Yeah.
made it to the ninth grade without expecting. They graduated without expecting.
Yes.
And you know, that was just I just wanted them to make it further than I did.
Yeah.
And all of them did. So I'm just thankful.
Yeah.
To God for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk about what you're doing now in information technology and IT.
So I am a senior solutions development analyst for a major health system here in Tulsa. I have been with them for almost all my life. Like they are my first real job, and I'm still there. And I didn't start in IT. I started in the clinic, but my education and my background was in IT. And my skill set and my responsibilities and my tasks have evolved over the years. And so I started out in the clinic, working at check-in, just doing various things. But because I was a little, you know, I could do a little IT things. Anytime anything would break or something's wrong with the system, I would fix it. And so a position came open within our support department, and they were like, Sweet 200 never calls us, hire Ahisha. You need to interview Ahisha. And so that's how I transitioned from clinic to a true IT department. And at the time, I did training for our associates and physicians, and I worked the help desk. And
well, I do want to say that I did a little bit of research, and it's hard for women of color to get into information technology. I mean, that's why you've broken some of the molds. You've changed what we expect when we think of someone in information technology.
Yeah.
So what I found was that out of all the computing jobs that are available, only 26% are women.
Yep.
And of that, 3%
Absolutely
are African American. So you're in that 3%. That's nothing.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's intimidating, because if you have an interest in IT, it is so vast. And anyone that does not know that there's different categories and different areas, when you first go into research, you'll be like, oh no, I'm gonna go to plan B because it's too much. But it's something that you have to be passionate about. And then my suggestion for anyone that would want a career in IT is to understand your passion. Know what is your passion. Find your niche. And after you find that, then go back and research what are the top 10, what are the highest top 10 IT careers that are in demand right now. And then in that list, is there something in that list that's a passion for you? I chose healthcare because I was passionate about healthcare at the time, and I still am. It's just my position has evolved over the years so many times, but I love my job. It's a little stressful at times, but you have to be passionate about it. And the reason why is because you are constantly learning. It is nonstop. You cannot be lazy. You cannot be passive, because if you just think about, I'm trying to not use any terms or technical terms, but if you just think about Apple and Android and their software is updated every quarter, sometimes monthly. They're running a software update. If you're going to support that, if you're going to develop applications and tools and align workflows with that software, then you have to be willing to learn and educate yourself and develop that skill set every time there's an update. So it's ongoing, and it, you know, it can get expensive, but you know, a lot of times, a lot of employers will help you with tuition assistance and things like that. Like if there's a new certification you need, or if you need to be recertified, a lot of employers offer tuition assistance and things like that.
Well, I know after Hurricane Katrina, a lot of doors opened because people didn't have access to their medical records, and they were, you know, being transplanted and no one knew what their history was. And I think patients in general are starting to pay attention to what they're taking. But back then they were just like, oh, I take a white pill, a blue pill. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What are they for?
Yeah. And no one thinks, and I don't know why, but no one thinks about, let me take a picture of my medicines, or let me write down all my meds and put it in my wallet. Let me get a card, put it in my wallet. Let me carry it with me. No one thinks about that. And so thankfully, I mean, we now have the electronic medical record, which with today's technology, and health information exchange, you know, your health record could be at the fingertips of a physician in Zimbabwe. I mean, it's just, that's the technical era that we're in, and I absolutely love it. I'm really passionate about it, especially because of the health disparities amongst African Americans and in areas that are impoverished. You know, really passionate about it. The government has implemented regulations that require healthcare professionals and health systems to engage their patients in their healthcare, educate them. They're having group sessions where they offer patients, hey, we're having a group session where you can come in and we can talk about what's going on in the clinic. What do you like? What do you not like? What are some of the barriers to you making your appointments and taking your medications? And there's all sorts of analytics and reports and data gathering and aggregation that takes place on the back end that just gives us this data at our fingertips. Like we can search. Technology allows us to search like a certain area code, and we can in a few minutes get a report and have a full understanding what the health disparities are in that area code, and then sit down with those patients and talk through what their options are. You know, why are you not able to access really good healthcare, proper healthcare? You know, it could be transportation, it could be finances, it could be they don't have insurance and they just are afraid that they're going to come in and they're going to have this healthcare bill that they can't afford, and so they put their health at risk. And the data that we can pull, and you know, we have care managers in the clinic that will contact those patients and say, hey, so I noticed on this survey or in this assessment you said that you struggle with transportation, that's why you're not making your appointments. Let me give you the information to this community resource that will get you to your appointments for free.
Good.
And same thing with medication and things. And so that's why I'm really passionate about it, because, you know, our community, we are dying for a lack of knowledge. And it's sad. And it, you know, we have a responsibility to educate those that don't know. So, you know, I just encourage everyone, if you have family members that don't know, that you educate them. You know, encourage them to contact their physician and say, you know, what options do I have? I can't afford to pay for my blood pressure medicine. What can I do? What can I do? Who can help me? Who in the community can help me get my meds? So yeah, I'm just really passionate about it, because we could, within a matter of 10 minutes, have a wealth of data about everyone in a certain city or a certain state, and, you know, start outreach programs to help.
That's great, because they did that study years ago, OU did, and found that there was a 10-year gap in the life expectancy from like zip code of 74135 and 74106. And that's the reality. Like there aren't any grocery stores. The providers are just very scarce out in, you know, the north side of Tulsa. You go out, you know, to 74135 and you see a provider on every corner.
Every corner.
It's just not that way. And, you know, that's what inspired me to open the medical supply company that didn't open in 2016, but you have no options here. You have to go to South Tulsa to get, you know, a splint for your elbow or your ankle. Like, there's no options. I mean, that's still on my bucket list. So I don't know. It's probably going to be, I don't know.
Either that or they just settle for going to the Walgreens and getting.
Or do nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
And just go back to the ER when the pain gets bad enough.
Yep. And it's sad because the quality of life decreases. And when there are small, simple things that you can implement and that you can change that would help and save lives. I mean, because, you know, I volunteer for the Power to End Stroke brunch every year, and we didn't have it this year due to COVID, but it is every year my jaw drops, and I know what's going to happen. I know what the results are going to be every year, but my jaw drops because they screen everyone. It's free to the community, and they get to come to a nice hotel. They provide transportation, you know, and they have a nice brunch, and they have all these speakers and all this entertainment. And part of the requirements is you have to go through a screening every year, and it's majority Black. It probably not African American attendees, and every year, well over 80% of the attendees have high blood pressure. And I'm not just saying, I'm talking high blood pressure, and it's like, yeah, and so. And, you know, high blood pressure leads to stroke, leads to heart disease.
Kidney failure.
Yes. And, you know, something as simple as educating the community and the population on how to take their meds. It's important to take your meds. Don't skip your meds. Yes, somebody said 80%. Yes, it is mind-blowing. Every year, 80% of the attendees or more have high blood pressure.
Well, they say it's a silent killer because they all feel normal. I argue with patients all the time in my current role because every time I have an encounter with a patient, I'm trying to make sure they're fit for duty.
Yeah.
And so they have a high blood pressure, and I'm telling them your numbers are at that threshold where I have to send you home. They want to argue with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I can work. And when I break it down to them, they don't know the parameters to be alarmed, and they still feel normal because their body is compensating.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And I love the back end. I mean, that's why I developed the app. I love the mapping and trying to make things easy for the end user, the customer, or whatever. But I do not like SQL Server. Just like you said, find out what you're passionate about.
You don't like SQL Server because you don't have the skill set. Like you don't need to tap into that.
I tried to for our EMR, and I was like, okay,
pay a professional.
My limit.
Pay a professional, because if you try to do it yourself and then something starts, you start getting some bugs in that app, like, you know.
I will definitely pass that along.
Yes.
But I really, I try to encourage people all the time. Like, there are so many things that you can do. And I talk to my kids about this because, you know, they're at that age where they're thinking of things that we're not. But I'm asking them, think of a problem that you can solve with an app. Like, that's something you can do. Like, you really just, there are people that are only solving problems with applications that are on the phones, and they are living very well. Very well.
Yes.
Because once your app is successful, then someone's going to want to buy it out, and that's what's happening.
Yep. It is.
What advice would you give to someone that wants to go into the field of IT or information technology?
Find your passion. Research IT careers, because the world of IT is so vast. There is so many different genres, for lack of a better term, of an IT professional that you can become. So what is your passion? Find your niche. Research the careers in IT that are in the highest demand. And, you know, once you see something that piques your interest, start researching that. Like, how many certifications do you have? What level of degree do you need? What are the best programs to enroll in? And just whatever fits for you, that's what you pick. And you have to be willing to learn constantly, nonstop. Once you get your certifications, you get your degrees, and you start your career, just know that's not the end of it. It's going to be a constant roller coaster, up and down, of learning. And, you know, you have so many different operating systems that phase out and merge. And then they make all these changes, and you have to do all this testing, and you have to do all this learning and training. It's constant. Yeah.
And I would add to that, being a woman of color, if you are planning on going into that field, just remember that your performance and how well you handle that job is going to determine how the next woman that looks like you gets an opportunity.
Absolutely.
We already see the numbers. 3%, that's horrible.
Yeah, I could have told you that easily. As many conferences and different trainings and things that I've attended for as long as I've worked, yeah, it's far few and in between African Americans at the conferences. And then, you know, of those, the very few women. And of the women, it's a healthcare conference. So a lot of them are nurses, and very few IT professionals. And you know, I don't consider myself an IT professional. I just say I work in informatics, just because it's a little, for me, it's a little different knowing what I'll do to IT, but yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. What kind of, do you have any advice for just preparing someone like a woman of color that's going into IT? Like, are there more challenges that they just need to be prepared for? Because I know, like, when I became a nurse manager, there was a gap there. Like, I had to, I was challenged more. I had to prove more. I mean, do you see any of that in IT?
Yeah, just be resilient, be strong, don't back down, work hard. And, you know, make sure you're educated, and make sure you're not just, you kind of have to fly above the radar. We tend to feel that we have to work harder than everyone, and that works, every last one of our coworkers anyway, in any job. For this especially, you cannot go into a training room where you're training executives or you're training physicians, people that are highly educated, and they ask the question and you say, I don't know. I don't know, it's not acceptable. You have to know. You have to be educated. You have to work hard. And just don't give up. Don't give up. Quick story, I quickly moved up to a help desk lead. And then, you know, after I was a lead, an analyst position came up. I didn't have the education, but I had the experience and I knew what I was doing. And I didn't have the level of education that was qualified for that position. And I will tell you, we went through probably 2 years of 3 different individuals, 3 different males that were hired, that I ran circles around. And you know, their time there was short. And after the 3rd one that didn't work out, my director called me in and she's just like, I'm just going to give the position to you. And, you know, for me, in my head, a really great relationship. I've worked for her for many, many years. She's been a great mentor, a great leader. She's taught me a lot. But in my head, I'm like, if you would have hired me last year, we would have projects that done piled up.
Right. I try to tell you though.
But so, you know, you just understand that you're going to experience those type of things. People that are not as skilled as you are if their resume looks good, it's a high chance that they're going to get selected over you, just because you're female, just because you're Black. And then if you don't have the level of education that they have, they may get picked over you anyway. And that's, you know, one of the things that has come out recently. It's a program, like an improvement optimization type program with different companies, especially in healthcare, is where they have fully understood that they need to acknowledge and promote individuals with a skill set over seniority, and their skill set and their experience over seniority, and the skill set and the experience over education. And that is really big, because so many times we have individuals that think they want a position and they have all the prerequisites, they have their masters, they have all of these different things, but then they get in it and they don't excel, they don't perform well. And you take someone that has worked for that company for 5+ years, that knows all of the ins and outs, knows the systems, knows protocols and procedures that come and run circles around them. And so that's something that I'm also excited about. That doesn't mean that, you know, we slack. We still work hard. We still be our best and do everything we can. No stone left unturned.
That is so true. So let me ask you, what is success to you?
Success for me is my sense of purpose, because, you know, what is life without purpose? What is life without happiness, without love, without genuine agape love? You know, there comes a time, like, let me tell you, I was a brat growing up, and all I saw was money and material things, and I gotta have Kohans, and I gotta have guests, and I gotta have Jabot and all these other things. But, you know, there comes a time in your life to where all the glitz and glam and the flashiness and the money, it just really doesn't matter. And I'm not saying, you know, don't work hard to attain wealth so that you can leave a legacy for your children and your grandchildren. For me, don't get caught up in the money and the cars and the popularity, because when you're gone, none of that is going to matter. You know, for me, success is what is my purpose? You know, what am I doing that's sustainable? What am I doing that matters? Whose life have I touched that is going to be able to excel because they cross my path? You know, if life isn't sustainable, if it doesn't bring me joy, if it doesn't bring me happiness, then to me, I'm not successful. To me, I'm a failure. Because after all of that is gone, you know, what's left? How am I remembered? Oh, she had all of these things, but that's it. She was cute. She had all these things, but that's it.
I almost said something, but I'm just going to say that I feel like the ultimate level of success is being able to inspire others. And
that's it.
Exactly what you said. I mean, what kind of legacy are you going to leave? What are people going to think about when they hear your name?
That's it.
What are they going to feel?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I totally agree with that. So what's next with you?
Oh goodness, I moved Muffin to college. Muffin's going to college next week. It's probably going to be probably going to throw me back a few weeks. Be an emotional roller coaster. So get ready for the text.
I'm ready.
Yeah, just, you know, adjusting to life after getting Muffin moved out, adjusting to a quieter home. You know, I still have the younger boys, Eli and Cam. You know, but they don't like being at home. You know, they like to be with their family, and they're active in sports and just engaged in all sorts of things. So I have a lot of time alone. So I have the opportunity to pick up some things that I put down to focus on, because I put down a lot of things. You know, I was a choreographer. I had young ladies that I mentored in dance and in just life. I put that down, and I put business aspirations and different things down to be totally 100% present for Muffin, because it's my only girl, for her high school years. And I'm glad I did that. We got lots of really great memories. I was able to help her stay focused. She's able to go to college playing basketball, something that she set as a goal in the 6th grade. And so, and not just regular, she's playing Division I. And so, you know, she's at a smaller university in the Southland Conference, but she She is a rock star. That girl is determined.
Yeah.
She's very successful in everything that she touches, and it's a blessing. So life after Muff. So I'll be picking up some things. I'll just share really quick. I won't get into too many details, but children are my passion. And being in the world of IT, one of the things that I want to bridge the gap in communities that are less fortunate, and I want to start a STEM program that focuses on the youth, because a lot of times people don't know that they're interested in coding. They don't know they're interested in science and in different technologies, and
Right.
That's something that's acquired as at a young age. And so I want to develop a program that will go in and bring in just simple little toys and puzzles, and to pique their interest, and something that can follow them along to and through high school, and develop their career path, because coding is a great big part. Without coding, there's no technology, and coding is a very, very lucrative profession.
I know.
And it's something that you want to learn at a young age. And
what age group would your program be for?
It will start pre-K.
Okay, I got somebody for it. I'm sending Bella.
I'll send her on. She'll be my little ambassador, honey, because she is way jazzy. She's been out of commercials.
So awesome. I am so excited for you. And
yeah.
You just have a very inspirational story. You have a success story. I mean, when you really think about it, every day you're one decision from being somewhere else. Like, you have to make decisions every day to be where you are, be intentional, and like you said, be fully engaged.
Yes.
So I just really appreciate you spending this time with me to let me pick your brain and just be genuine, and the energy that you brought. I'm so excited for what you have in store. Yeah. And for anyone that didn't hear the whole conversation, I am going to upload this to my YouTube channel, Jamesha Ross RN. And Ahisha, let them know where they can connect with you if they want to do that.
You can connect with me on Facebook, Ahisha Peters, or right here on IG, AZ Peters. I do have a Twitter and a Snap, but I am rarely on those two apps. This is too much social media to manage. So connect with me on IG at AZ as in Zebra Peters, and Ahisha Peters on Facebook.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for everyone that joined us, and having the questions was really awesome. I saw what you put in there, Shalana, and that is so true.
Man.
So scary.
Yes.
So, okay. Well, thank you, everyone.